and welcome to Nationwide. I am Dennis Adegunloye. We'll begin with health-related matters. Nigeria's National Food Consumption and Micronutrients Report has been launched, and the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohammed Ali Patir, has reiterated government's commitment to addressing the root causes of malnutrition in the country by leveraging the data from the document. Basi Ita Ikbang reports.
The 564 pages document, the Vice President Kashim Shettima represented noted, underscores the urgency for innovative strategies to promote nutrient-rich food consumption in the country. For the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, the time has come for the country to move from faith-based to evidence-based policy-proven programming.
These are just among a few of the major transitions that Nigeria is going through. And I think when you listen carefully to His Excellency the President and his vision, his renewed hope agenda, it's really to make this transition work and work for all Nigerians.
The core of this report are its key findings, distilled into a concise 72-page document that encapsulates the essence of our nation's nutritional challenges and opportunities.
While the team talked on the many twists encountered along the production line, partners promised to support the government in the implementation of the document, described as the renewed hope for nutrition uptake in Nigeria.
There was inadequate data for nutrition. So we had a stakeholders meeting in 2018. It is amongst the largest of its kind, Minister, in the region, on the continent, and I believe perhaps in the world. So there are many, many lessons.
In all, stakeholders and partners agreed that the nation now has the comprehensive data to work with that would change the narrative in the nation's nutrition issues. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
And to enable rural women to commence mass production of some staple food and clothing, the first batch of industrial empowerment equipment has been distributed to some states across the Federation. Let's get more on this from Momso Damien Datti.
In Anambra State, we gave them 12 Gari processing machine, 12 cassava processing machine. We gave Kanu rice milling machine 5. It will have the boiler, it will have the stoner, and it will only have the chaffer. We gave sewing industrial machine.
The Minister of Women Affairs wheeling out types of equipment and quantity distributed so far.
So that's why we are piloting with these ones we're able to afford. So the people that got the fish equally got the 2 fish grilling machines. We only have a bank giving out free POS to these women.
Selected across the 6 geopolitical zones.
We are talking about 15 states supplied. Some of them, about 2-3 communities are going to get something. The first supply to the commissioners of women affairs is from the commission that will now start taking to the communities. Introduce the portal where women will on board. When you are on board and you're part of this portal, we equally get you to mention what you love to do. And we cluster you people according to your villages, the town where you are. We cluster you people in cooperatives. Promises made, promises fulfilled, all in the bid to ensure that Nigerian women are economically empowered and self-reliant. In Abuja, Momso Damien Datti, NTA News.
In line with the renewed hope mandate of President Bola Tinubu to meet the needs of the older population, the National Senior Citizens Center has signed an agreement with a Nigerian firm for multilateral funding of its initiatives to drive inclusivity. The Director General of the NSCC, Omokaro, at the signing ceremony noted that the realization of objectives of the agreements will accelerate the cascading of initiatives to the subnational levels where 70% of older persons reside. The firm assured of transparency regarding the terms of the agreements. Now, Governor Ahmed Aliu of Sokoto State has pledged to consider the demands of civil servants and retirees in the state to improve their livelihoods in view of their role as the engine room that drives the economy. The governor made the commitments during this year's May Day celebrations in the state. Dalhatu Abdullahi tells us more.
These are representatives of different trade unions marching past Governor Ahmed Aliyu of Sokoto State at this year's Workers' Day celebrations in Sokoto. Governor Aliyu, who acknowledges the critical roles of civil servants in nation building, says his administration is committed to ensuring welfare of workers in the state through prompt payment of salaries and monthly cash allocations to MDAs, as well as procurement of mass transit buses.
My administration recently set up committee to verify genuine retiree so that we can commence the payment of backlog of gratuity from 2016 to date.
The general expectation among the workers is for the government to speedily implement the pay rise announced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to uplift the living conditions of the Nigerian workers.
A lot has been achieved. The NLC 2UC want to appreciate the state government.
Every worker must be happy with this day.
We really appreciate what the government is doing here. We thank God for the state government.
Forward ever, backward never, in the struggle for our men.
In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Well, Dalhatu Abdullahi, who led the NUJ contingent at the May Day celebrations, is now standing by at the NLC Secretariat to tell us more on the pulse of the workers. Dalhatu, hello. The annual observance comes up, as we all know, once every year. How, in your view, enthusiastic were the workers during this year's celebrations?
Well, hello, welcome to Sokoto, the seat of the Caliphate, exactly at the front view of the NLC Secretariat, Sokoto State. Before the coming of the 1st May 2024, workers have been curious in Sokoto State to see the day so that they can go there at the venue of the celebration of the National Workers' Day to hear the good news from the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, and by extension to hear the good news from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The pronouncement of the approval of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the salaries increase of 25 to 35% has created a lot of job increase. That created a lot of generations of appreciations and jubilations on the side of the federal civil servants in Sokoto State, and the state civil servants also developed a hope that the state governments will join the federal government in that rise in the salaries of the civil servants across the country. So the representatives of the workforce, various NLC and its affiliates bombarded the venue of the celebration, that is Giginya Memorial Stadium in Sokoto, to wait for the arrival of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto FCNA, who came and brought a lot of hope, a lot of good news to workers, saying that all the requests made by the NLC chairman, Comrade Abdullahi Aliyu Jangul, for the improvement of workers' welfare in the state, and the payment of palliatives, that is wage award, as approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from October 2023 to March 2024, the state NLC chairman appealed to Sokoto state government to make that payment a reality so that the state civil servants will equally enjoy that wage award to cushion the effect of the hardships being occasioned by fuel subsidy removal. And also the NLC chairman called...
All right, Dalhatu, let me just cut you there. How are the workers prepared for the upcoming years ahead in terms of their dedication to their duties?
the good news they had from the governor and the federal government, workers are curious and creating a lot of appreciation and indicating the commitment and their readiness to justify their monthly packages by the federal government and the state governments across the country. They said, yes, in fact, it will be seen the morale is high and the curiosity is high that they must justify that packages by the federal government and state governments. They are ever ready to show it in their productivity, coupled with the capacity building promised by the state governor to continue to build the capacity of civil servants in the state, so that they can compete favorably with other states in Nigeria.
Many thanks for that. Thank you for that. Now, the need to understand the challenges women face and appreciate their uniqueness is said to be not only a move in the right direction, but also an investment in their progress and inclusion in decision-making. This was stressed at a professional platform for the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations in Abuja. Harman Jabani reports.
With the theme Women in Leadership, Challenges and Prospects, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations is turning its focus at achieving gender equality and women's well-being in all aspects of life. Women's active involvement in politics is said to remain a mirage due to the reluctant assumption that women's proper place is in the kitchen, even though women are saddled with challenges which include gender-based violence, discrimination at workplace, and exclusion in decision-making. Speakers say increasing women's participation in governance is essential to achieve gender parity, while increasing women's leadership slot can lead to the attainment of all-round sustainable development.
Gender equality does not mean the same treatment. Gender equality does not mean we are equal or we are the same. But when you are talking of gender, we want to begin the chapter by saying who is in the gender.
The question is, can a woman in leadership cope, balance the roles, the role expectations, and succeed without losing herself in the process? My answer is an unequivocal yes, that we can.
The NIPR says more should be done, pledged to protect women's rights and advance gender equality in political sphere, and the Institute will continue to champion the cause of women in Nigeria.
For me, it's very important that we don't isolate women as a seasonal celebrities, that once in a year we have to come and celebrate women. I disagree. Women must be celebrated every day.
As a profession that recognizes women, we have decided that today we should honor our women, and a way of saying thank you, women, for all that you do for the development of society.
The meeting also received reports of various committees and also celebrated new fellows and members. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Let me now hand over to Hingano in our Lagos Network Center for happenings from that zone. Hello, Hingano, how are you?
Dennis, I'm good. And how are you too? The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, through its Constituency and Executive Projects Tracking Group, has tracked close to 220 billion naira across 176 ministries, departments and agencies in its Phase 6 funded projects from 2020 to 2022. Chairman of the Commission, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliu, SAN, disclosed this at a press briefing in Lagos.
Monies allocated to critical sectors by government are utilized.
The man leading the war against corrupt practices and other related offences to ensure a Nigeria free of all forms of corruption, reeling out what the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has achieved in the Phase 6 of its constituency and executive projects tracking exercise, as well as explaining the report of the 2024 National Budget Analysis.
A total of 1,721 government funding projects were tracked within this Phase 6 tracking cycle. The Commission is conducting further investigation on some infractions discovered.
The tracking, which ensures government funds are directed towards impactful projects that benefit the most vulnerable, ICPC chairman says focuses on critical sectors like education, agriculture, healthcare, and infrastructure, covering 26 states across all geopolitical zones, including the FCT.
Relevant MDS have been mandated to invite the Commission, that is ICPC, to monitor the distribution of empowerment items on the budget.
In the maritime sector, the chairman explained that some measures were taken to improve transparency and accountability, which led to 50 arrests in 2023. Dismantling of corruption networks causing traffic congestion within the port community, among others. The Commission also held a Strategic Action Plan Workshop 2024 to 2028. Journalists also had a session where they were trained on effective reportage of cases of corruption. The Tinubu-led administration believes in promoting and protecting human rights and is determined to provide an enabling environment for the National Human Rights Commission to effectively protect the rights of every Nigerian. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, stated this at the inauguration of the Lagos State Office of National Human Rights Commission. Bolaji Akim completes the report.
The Nations General Assembly established the Paris Principles in 1993 as a set of criteria for evaluating national human rights institutions. Under the Paris Principles, such institutions are to be independent in the execution of their mandates, structure, and operations. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, explained that apart from the fact that Nigeria has fully complied with the Paris Principles, President Bola Tinubu's determination in promotion and protection of human rights is unshakable.
Advent of this administration, the government has not interfered with the independence of the Commission.
The establishment of the Lagos State Office of the National Human Rights Commission is expected to enhance the Commission's expansive capacity to tackle human rights challenges effectively within the region.
The Lagos Office of the National Human Rights Commission will provide enabling environment for staff to carry out their duties, serving as voice of the voiceless, promoting and protecting citizens' rights in accordance with the mandate that established the Commission.
I'm optimistic that the Commission will record giant strides in entrenching its independence under the present administration.
Having an office where we can operate, attend to the people who need our services, that is owned by us and that is completely independent, is a very, very significant milestone.
The Commission, in its determination to reach other parts of the country, plans to inaugurate offices in 8 states across all geopolitical zones of the country by the end of this year. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. Nationwide will continue in Kaduna after this break. Do stay.
In Kaduna, the federal government has redoubled its efforts to ensure safe and portable water reach all households, and this is through maximum utilization of water in dams and reservoirs. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation gave the assurance during an inspection tour to some water projects in Kano State. Yohannes Hassan Barrow reports.
Kano and Jigawa states are blessed with dams and water reservoirs established for domestic and irrigation purposes. Over the years, these facilities have been source of livelihood to many communities. Understanding their significance, the present administration has mapped out a clear-cut roadmap for the utilization of these assets by various communities in the 2 states. Ibrahim Muhammad, a resident of Masanawa village in Birnin Kudu local government area of Jigawa State, is elated with the federal government intervention in addressing perennial water shortage in their community.
Now we hope that this project will end the hardship that we are facing.
Inspecting the project, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation noted that there is an existing covenant between the present administration and citizens in addressing development challenges in the country. While in Kano, the minister interfaces with factories into manufacturing of products in water supply to ensure compliance with standard.
It's not only for the creation or construction of water schemes alone, but to make sure that these water schemes we are constructing are going to stand the test of time.
Was also at Hadeja Jama'are River Basin Development Authority and asked water basin authorities in the country to evolve ways of generating income, having granted partial commercialization status. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
In response to this year's weather predictions by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency as well as the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, which indicates that there is possibility of experiencing flooding in most states of the Federation like Jigawa State. The State Technical Standing Committee on Flood has already put in measures in place to reduce this flood as well as minimize damages that it may come with. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
The Jigawa Joint Technical Standing Committee on Flood, whose membership is drawn from the Hadeja Jama'are River Basin Development Authority and the Jigawa State experts, has upon the receipt of the report of the 2024 weather forecast, which listed Jigawa amongst states that may experience flood, swung into action, assessing the nature of the Hadeja River system to identify areas that need urgent attention, to provide necessary solution to further fortify the state from the impending flood disaster. The committee has been to Agufa, Maiwondo, Gasanya, Marike, Kisgen and Tage, among others, in Miga and Kafin Hausa local government areas, while the river system passed through. Challenges were identified along the stretch of the river from upstream, midstream to downstream, while taifa grass, among other aquatic plants, and siltation of the river are being cleared to prepare the river for free flow of water ahead of the 2024 rainy season.
I've identified so many problems which indeed consist of siltation, diversion, and the infestation of aquatic weeds along the river system.
Already, the committee has done a lot in the area of construction of embankments and dredging of the river, which it started last year and has covered most of the flood-prone areas in the state. With these measures on the ground, the committee believes if the flood comes, its impact on the state would be a minimal one. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from Kaduna. Back to our Abuja studio where Dennis is standing by. Good to see you this evening, Dennis.
Good to see you too, Mohammed. Many thanks for your reports from that zone. Now, the federal government says it is liaising with relevant agencies and stakeholders to come up with modalities to compensate victims of last Saturday's gas explosion in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, said this when he visited Ogun State to commiserate with the government and people over the incident. Yemi Dalemo reports.
The Minister of State for Petroleum, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, who was in Ogun State to sympathize with government and people over the Itaoshin gas explosion, said the incident is a wake-up call to stakeholders in the compressed natural gas subsector to maintain standard through effective regulations, prevent future reoccurrence. The minister, who commended the state government for the prompt response to the emergency, expressed hopes that the incident does not pose setback to the ongoing transition from petrol or diesel engines to CNG-powered vehicles.
We've been to the site, we've seen the cylinders, we've gone to the company, attending to the event of that very day to calm the nerves.
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun appreciated the federal government for its concern and intervention.
We're now going to put in place a policy to ensure that we enforce the roadworthiness of those trucks, and at least that is removed from the equation, and then begin to look at issues around standards.
You will recall that the driver of a truck laden with gas lost control of the vehicle and rammed into the road median at Itaoshin along the old Abeokuta Expressway, resulting in an explosion. While the driver of the truck was on the run, His assistant lost his life in the incident. Many people were injured, 4 vehicles were razed, and several shops also affected. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
The Defense Headquarters says it will court-martial 2 personnel involved in the Tunumbiri bombing incident in Kaduna State. Director Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, announced this during a media briefing, an update on the ongoing armed forces operations across the country, saying the decision is sequel to a full-scale investigation into the incident.
The Tunumbiri incident, the investigation has been concluded, and we have found out that the incident shouldn't have taken place in the first place. Now, those responsible are to face court-martial for their acts of omission or commission as related to the incident.
Some inhabitants of Tunumbiri were accidentally killed in December 2023 by troops in a counterinsurgency and banditry operation in the area. Meanwhile, 465 kidnapped victims were rescued, while 715 terrorists, including their top commanders, were eliminated in different combat operations.
IRI were neutralized at Koleram along the Lake Chad region. The enclave of terrorist commander Babaru in Kankara local government area of Katsina State was destroyed. Others include Belu Turji's camp in Kagara Forest, located between Shinkafi in Zamfara.
Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that several weapons were also recovered, with criminal camps destroyed. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Mohammed, has advocated improved intelligence sharing between Nigeria and the United States to enhance the fight against banditry and terrorism in Nigeria. This was the focus of the engagements between the Minister and the Assistant Secretary for Defense for African Affairs at the U.S. Department of Defense, Jennifer Zakariski, and her team on a working visit to the ship house in Abuja. The minister notes that coordinated early warnings to citizens in crisis-hit countries can be shared with Nigeria to facilitate proactive combat operations. The coalition of civil society organizations of Nigeria is calling on government to speedily address the threats of corruption enablers who are undermining the efforts of the organizations in the fight against corruption. At a press briefing, the CSOs also reminded Nigerians that fighting corruption is a collective responsibility. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports.
But say corruption has been the bane of Nigeria's development that requires all hands on deck to stop the menace. The concern now is how some elements that do not want good for the country are fighting the anti-corruption agencies and civil society organizations. This press conference is organized to highlight the dangers associated with corruption actors and the need to uphold the rule of law in the cycle.
These enablers, what they do is they serve as clients to the looters so that they can siphon this money.
Others believe that for Nigeria to get it right, transparency and accountability must be adhered to.
It is reprehensible, it is unacceptable, this amount of attacks on anti-corruption agencies.
The anti-corruption agencies themselves, there has been a concerted war by corrupt people in public office in Nigeria to make sure anti-corruption agencies are unable or prevented from prosecuting corrupt individuals.
They advise political actors to stand firm and allow law to play its role in dealing with corrupt cases. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Let's take another quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. The Renewed Hope initiative is set to improve lives of families across states of the Federation. This was stated by the Senior Special Assistant on Media to Nigeria's First Lady, Busola Kukoyi, while discussing the initiative on Good Morning Nigeria. Kemini Williams reports.
Renewed Hope initiative by Nigeria's First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu is already making impact across states of the Federation with 5 focal areas, namely education, agriculture, health, social investment, and economic empowerment. Speaking on the details of this initiative, media aide to the First Lady, Bukola Kukoyi, highlighted some of the programs under the initiative, such as the One Nigeria Unity Fabric, Every Home a Garden, Alternative High School for Girls, and many other programs. She noted that the initiatives not only target women, but the well-being of families as a whole.
Health, social investment, and economic empowerment. Now, for the First Lady of the Federal Republic, she believes that if these 5 areas are adequately covered and there are interventions in those areas, then we can talk about a better life for the family. And that's why she's being very vigorous about it. Now, if you look at the structure of the Renewed Hope initiative, it is a grassroots-oriented structure. It goes from the top right to the bases. Now, we have the national chairman of that initiative, who is the First Lady as expected, the vice chairman, the wife of the vice president, as expected. Now, all the state governors, the governor's wives for each state will be coordinating at the state level. They would also have local government coordinators who will be reaching out to the grassroots.
Wiyemi Aribo, DG Women Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, described the initiative as laudable and suggested other ways the program can be scaled up and made more efficient, including partnership with relevant agencies, provision of communal lands to women in the grassroots to cultivate, and training in technology for women entrepreneurs.
Probably started her business out of passion, right? Which is where a lot of female entrepreneurs are. You start a business from something that you do at home, from a skill that you've picked up, not necessarily that you understand the business side of things. So where capacity building comes in is where, that's intersection with economic empowerment. How do you, teach these women to use the skills that they have to actually become economically empowered, to begin to make money for not just themselves, but for their communities, for themselves, for their families. So I think for me, just hearing that there's a capacity building part of it, and we do know that there's a huge digital divide for women, especially in Nigeria. Not a lot of women are online. I would take there were a lot of reports from the COVID-19 that affected women. So women entrepreneurs were the ones that were adversely affected the most, because not a lot of them had their businesses online. So when everything is shut down, you can't go to your store, there's nowhere for you to sell.
The way you handle issues, the way you relate with people, allows you to run the office effectively. Like he has mentioned, people, volunteer to come to us, you understand, to support us based on what we have done. The records are there. It is glaring for people to see. And that is why we are receiving support from right, left, and center.
Nigerians were also advised to cooperate with government of the day towards realizing its goals of improving lives and ensuring national development. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Let's now join Susan in our Makurdi Network Center. Hello, Susan. Let's have some happenings from your end.
Thank you for joining us in Makurdi. Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is poised to assist Nasarawa State Government in addressing revenue shortfalls in the state. Team leader Andrew Adagba was speaking when he led other federal commissioners to a meeting with the state's Deputy Governor, Emmanuel Akabe, in Lafia. Joshua Kigu's report is here presented.
According to the leader of the team, Andrew Agbaga, the visit is to verify and ensure Nasarawa State meets the requirements for accessing Federal Government Stabilization Fund, adding that the fund is meant for states that have absolute decline in revenue.
Our findings will be taken back to the Indices Advisory Committee based on our recommendation and now send it to the plenary. The plenary is the ruling body of the commission.
He notes the commission will be fair in the discharge of its duty to enable Nasarawa State to get what is due to it as to enhance development. Nasarawa State Deputy Governor Emmanuel Akabe expresses delight over the visit by the Commission's delegation and appeals for the consideration in the disbursement of the Stabilization Fund for Infrastructural Development.
National states, particularly the Karo axis, is the fastest growing part of this country. And every day more people are coming into the place. So the little facilities we have, the facilities we have there, the utilities we have there are so overstretched, very overstretched. And even on that account alone, we need the support to be able to put in a few amenities in those places.
He assures the delegation of prudent use of the fund if given to the state, noting that it will help in addressing challenges of flooding, agricultural production, infrastructural, and the devastation of mining activities.
Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has assured residents of the state of continued collaboration with relevant security agencies in ridding the state of all forms of crime and criminality. The governor made the commitment when he received the new Commissioner of Police, Benue State Command, and his ranking officers at the Government House, Makurdi. Elias Itiaf has more.
The visit of the 47th Commissioner of Police, Benue State Command, on the State Governor is customary for the duo to familiarize with each other on strategies in tackling insecurities. The new Police Commissioner, Hassan Steve Yabanet, said he is conversant with the Benue terrain, having stayed in the state for a long time, and noted that he will replicate his experience while serving in other commands in addressing kidnapping, armed robbery and banditry, and other coordinated crimes in the state. Mr. Yabanet disclosed that he has already mapped out flashpoints and towns and thanked the governor for his efforts so far in combating crime.
I want to assure people of Benue State that I want to give them the best, and I want to make sure that people of Benue State will sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, who described the increase in cybercrime, kidnapping, courtesan and other forms of insecurities, charged a new sheriff to hit the ground running. He therefore assured the new CP of adequate cooperation to reduce insecurity to the barest minimum.
We will continue to do the education to our people to know that security is the business of everyone.
Mr. Yabanet last served as Commissioner of Police in Plateau State before his deployment to Benue State Command. In Makurdi, Elias Itiaf, NTA News.
And that's it from Makurdi. We now return to Dennis in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Susan. Now, the Arewa New Frontiers has lauded the collaboration between Northern governors and the United States Institute of Peace in their continued efforts to tackle security challenges in the region. The organization says the governor's decision to leverage the expertise of the Global Institute in finding lasting solutions to security challenges bedeviling the Northwest region was apt and commendable. Arewa New Frontiers condemned statements attributed to former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, over the new collaboration, where he was quoted to have said that attention would have been shifted to the agriculture sector while undermining national security.
We can deny the fact that the United States has some of the best security measures across the world and has a long history of helping other nations tackling insecurity effectively with contributing in both intellectual strategies and weapon acquisitions. Sharing experience and ideas on a global scale was crucial in today's interconnected world.
The organization wants critics to be objective and always pay attention to facts before making any statements, and lauded the continued peace-building efforts and economic rejuvenation of the region through the digital approach by the northern governors. Amid an inspection of some road projects in Kogi State led by the Special Assistant to the President on Constituency Affairs, Karim Khadijat Omotayo, the Kogi State government has reaffirmed its dedication and support to President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Jonathan Omajali reports that Deputy Governor Joel Salifu accompanied the President's Special Assistant during the inspection.
shortly after a town hall meeting in Lokoja where far-reaching issues were deliberated on, Karim Khadija Tomotayo, the special assistant to the president on constituency affairs, embarked on a tour of the state capital, accompanied by Kogi State Deputy Governor Joe Salifu. Omotayo inspected ongoing federal road projects in Lokoja and emphasized the president's call for quality work and timely completion. The deputy governor commended the president's commitment to improving the state's well-being and pledged continued support.
Tell Mr. President that Kogi State is for him, 100%. Nothing can deter us from keying into his renewed hope agenda.
On the street of Lokoja, the team re-echoed the message of renewed hope. Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has condoled with the family of 14-year-old Daniel Anjorin, who was murdered in the United Kingdom a few days ago. In a statement, the NIDCOM boss describes the incident as very unfortunate and condoled with the Nigerian communities in the UK, expressing optimism that drastic measures will be taken to ensure that the culprit is duly punished. Daniel Anjorin was killed in his school uniform in Hainaut, East London, on Tuesday by a sword-wielding man in a terrifying rampage that left 4 others injured. And with that, we conclude Nationwide. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.